Hey, how's it, everybody? Welcome to the Holoholo with Halemanu show. And we are with bass legend, Mr. Marcus Miller. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
We're doing well. We're doing good now. We stay with you, man.
All right.
But hey, man, so I know you've been to Hawaii, but you haven't played in Hawaii yet.
We played maybe 25 years ago at a band shell on Oahu. And that was the last time we did a gig in Hawaii. I've been there a few times since then, but just to hang out, vacation with my family.
We got to bring you there to play, man. We got to set something up or something for you. So, when you play live and stuff, do you have something in your head like a melody to improvisation ratio? Like for instance, if the people are feeling the groove, do you just give them more, or what does that factor in anything?
Oh yeah, our music has a lot of improvisation, so I'm always vibing on the audience. And really, for me, a concert is basically about moving energy management. So I'm vibing the audience to take them up, and then see if I can bring them down. If I need to keep them up longer, I just tell the band, stay right there on that groove until we get what we need emotionally. You know what I mean? And then we move on to the next thing. And it's really easy to do that with jazz because we keep the music open. You know?
Definitely. Do you find yourself when you put together a band in the studio or for live playing? Is there certain attributes that you look for in players or people?
Yeah, first I look for musicians, of course, who have good technique, good tone, good rhythm, very important to me. But also I look for musicians who have good ears, because you'd be surprised how many great musicians are not great listeners, you know? So you ever have a conversation with somebody and you can tell they're not really hearing what you're saying, they're thinking about what they're going to say next? Well, in music it's the same thing. You know, you can tell musicians are just thinking about the next time they get to play their solo. And I prefer musicians who are listening to you and trying to support you when it's your turn to shine, and then they return the favor. So I think that's an attribute that a lot of young musicians, I try to stress that.
So that'll be a good thing for musicians coming into the business, especially playing a genre like jazz, to pay attention to.
Any music, any form of communication. It doesn't even have to be music. Just talking or writing. There's a guy who said a very beautiful phrase to me. He said, "It's better to understand than to be understood." Right? And what he's saying, man, is that you should spend most of your time taking the information in, listening. There's a lot of musicians, man, who are always playing. They always have a gig. And the people in the audience can't understand why, because they don't play really fast or really flashy. But for some reason, they're always working. And the other musicians are always smiling when they're playing with these particular musicians. And those are the musicians I'm talking about. And the reason the other musicians are smiling is because when you play something, the guy supports what you do, right? And when you leave a space, he puts something in the space. And then when you're playing something full, he stops playing. You know what I mean? He has a sensitivity. You know what I mean? And I think that's a really important attribute.
Now, I was watching you doing some playing yesterday, solo and stuff. Is there a right hand technique that you use? Like, I know there's a lot of fingers that go on. I'm a guitar player, so I have some nails in there. But like, do you go between a pick sometimes, or just to change the attack of the notes?
I change the attack, not with a pick, but I do change the attack. I change where along the string, because there's a lot of different sounds available to you if you change where you're plucking the string. I change the attack, I change the angle, and then of course I'll start playing with my thumb, change different fingers. Everything that's available, you try to use.
Now, with the advent of CDs the sales being down, and then now downloads, there seems to be a decline in that, and now people are streaming. Do you find any challenges in our industry? Does that affect you in any way?
Well, I think it affects everybody. You know what I mean? If you compare today to 25, 30 years ago, people are selling 90% less than what they sold before. And it's difficult because people are enjoying music as much as they ever enjoyed music. But the problem is that they don't have to pay for it. Streaming is one thing, but you can go to YouTube and hear a lot of music without paying anything. So it makes it difficult. And eventually it's going to reduce the quality of music, because people who are very talented but can't make a living playing music are going to start doing other things.
So what's happening new?
Like I said, the album's coming out in March, and we're going to play Asia in a couple of weeks. Then we're going to do the U.S., then Europe, and we're going to be on tour for the rest of the year.
Well, cool, Marcus. Thank you for your time, man. You got to come to Hawaii, like we said. We're on Maui, and you know, it was great to have a little sit down with you, and we really appreciate it. Aloha no.